Well, we welcome at the table Conny Dorrestijn. You're from Bankifi?
Bankifi.
Bankifi.
Yes.
What is Bankifi?
Well, Bankifi, we founded it in February because already for 3 years we thought all of banks will have a place in the future, no matter what people say, because you can exchange your bank that you don't like, a large monologue like whatever, ING or Rabobank, but then you replace it with what? With Amazon or Google. Do you honestly think that they have any better interest with your data? So we feel banks have a place in this world. The only thing we need to teach banks is that they think outside in rather than inside out. So we've developed a platform with which they can connect to a whole bunch of fintech partners and get the consent from their customers, business and consumer customers alike, in a proper, compliant way, but also in such a way that those people will become begeistred and engaged to do more through the brand of the bank, but not necessarily with the bank. They might be competitive services, but they're in the bank's app store, and so they can use them.
Yeah, but are you also talking about a social community or just business-wise?
No. It's hardcore business-wise. We sell the platform to banks, and we enable banks to have a very relevant offer post all the PSD2 and the open banking revolution.
You just told me you're a blockchain fan.
Yes, I am.
What's a blockchain fan? Somebody who adores blockchain?
No. And I'm not a blockchain hype fan. I'm a blockchain fan. I think that when
the
very
system,
early on,
the technology.
Yes, for me, I like anything that brings more fairness and more transparency and more insight to this world. And so I get very warm from all sorts of implementations like I saw today, where workers' rights are protected through the case that Bitfury, for instance, is doing with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And what I really regret at the moment is, and it's always the case with a new hype, is that you get this with a new hype.
The new hype, yeah.
That you get this twofold, like the investors move in and they only look at valuation and they only think things are cool when they go over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is really platform style innovation. We're looking at $1 billion valuation. I think that's just one side of the equation. For me, being a blockchain fan means I want to see what we can do with blockchain technology simply for, a world where more access and more transparency is part of daily life.
Yeah, and being more compliant, because there's not a lot of trust in the financial system. That's what a lot of people complain about. They have too much power.
Yeah, and to a degree rightfully so, to a degree also rightfully not so. Particularly in the Netherlands, we honestly have no reason to complain,
No.
Of course, we have all supported our banks when things are going wrong, but we have one of the best payment mechanisms in the world for the lowest fee. In the Netherlands, you can have a bank account for 35 euros. Go to Italy and it's 300.
Yeah.
And we don't have to check our bank balances. Things go right. Having said that, the bit I do not have ultimate faith in is the larger global system where
system banks.
Politicians can decide to print more and more and more money, and they leave my son and his generation with ridiculous amounts of debt.
Yeah, that's the distrust that people have.
Exactly,
in
and
the system.
don't think that only happens in New York, it also happens in Frankfurt.
But is that maybe the reason why blockchain is also popular?
I
that
think
people
so.
Think we can manage it for
exactly.
ourselves?
And again, people go for the technology hype. Blockchain wasn't invented because the technology allowed it. The technology allowed a certain social sentiment to be given a form and a shape and a tool.
Yeah.
But it always starts with the social sentiment. Same way as I was just at Money2020. For years, we only looked at technology innovation, and we went
a big technology event,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now you see that we also talk about the ethics of technology innovation. We're not data assets, we're humans.
Yes.
Internet is not an infrastructure, it's an ambient world. And so it's a world where we have to learn to live in, and regulators and all sorts of people can help us behave well.
Is blockchain a game changer? Is it going to change a lot?
It will. For me, blockchain is where, and I'm old enough to remember, where internet was before we had a browser.
Yeah.
It was a hugely exciting domain, but
Netscape.
we're all blindfoldedly, running around like rabbits. And that's a little bit where we are with blockchain now.
Yeah.
And I think give it 2 or 3 years, you'll see a lot of maturity. And in fact, I've been helping Vincent with this conference since day one. It's amazing how you see how far we've come with the business cases in 3 years' time.
Thanks a lot, Conny Dorrestijn. And hopefully we will speak to you more in the future.
I hope so. Have a nice evening.
Same.